3-1, leading the NFC East. Jane Daniels balling right now, balling.
So it would seem. Listen, man, this impressive stuff. To see the Commanders do well is great for two reasons. A, I do like seeing a DC having a good football team in the mix. I think that's better for the NFL overall, and it's a great excuse for me to invite Bowie TV's Madam President herself, C-Law, in the building. It's always good to bring Candace in. So, by the way, I'm talking about for the Student Game podcast. So there you go. Or it's not, I said C-Law, C-Wall, beg your pardon. Candy Waller will be in the building there to figure out what the heck happened. Who flipped the switch? So yeah, looking forward to talking with Steve Wall Wednesday night, 9:05 Eastern on the Student Game podcast there. So there you go.
No, so like a lot of kids, especially under 30, would look at the Commanders in the last, if you became a football fan in the last 20 years as some kind of joke, and rightly so, because they've been kind of a joke on the Daniel Snyder, for a long time. He's gone, thankfully, and whatnot.
Yeah.
They won a Super Bowl since 91.
I've had many conversations with Seawall about that.
But people forget that this Commanders franchise, or Redskins franchise, Commanders franchise, is one of the more storied franchises of our time. 3 Super Bowls. They were they won the better ones, top third.
It's so interesting that we talk about Doug Williams, and yet that whole thing with Schneider went down the way it did. Am I right? Man, listen.
Yeah.
By the way, you may want to go to the comments. I think you'll find it interesting there, Chief.
Joe McGrath said you make things so frisky. Oh, right now I think a little bit more than frisky right now, and thank you for the setup joke. I'm going to ask a question to you, Kyle. Are the Commanders officially the NFC East favorites? Right now, if we had to right now start this here from this point on and look at the landscape of the year we've seen so far and what's to come, would you put them to favorites right now in the NFC East?
Well, let me start before I answer that, because man, like if the correct move is to fence it, that question. Let me be honest with you. I'm going to give you a definitive one in a minute.
Do the big Jim thing?
No, doing the you thing.
Anyways, I don't fence it.
Your proctologist.
Why the awkward silence, buddy? I don't like that.
I was thinking about whether I should chop that proctologist joke or not. But listen, the punchline's this, buddy. Wasn't it a few weeks ago on this very show that we talked about me saying a power vacuum could be forming if this comes along?
Last week's report.
Wasn't that recent? Damn, I'm good. You know what? I'm going to give me a bell. How about that? Power vacuum, bitches. No.
Yes, Joe says I do fence it. Bullshit.
Yeah,
I do not fence it, bro. I said Packers 10 toes down, and I'm still Packers 10 toes down on the NFC title game. Let's go.
And rightly so. Listen, right. the Packers thing, you eventually did talk yourself and way into being 10 toes down on the Packers. And to be honest, it's not necessarily a bad take. I know that Jim wants to give you a hard time, but let's be honest. Music City Malik Willis keeping freaking games in the W column with love being hurt, that's crazy. Anyways, but back on topic here. So for those that didn't hear it, seeing the Cowboys struggle how they are, seeing the Eagles struggle how they are, and the Giants.
This shit.
2020 year cousin year is so great. Oh my God. That looks so stupid now, doesn't it? Anyways, with all that going on, the only team in the say what you will. Maybe you think the Eagles or the Cowboys are still at the top. The only team that to me looks like they have an upward trajectory beyond this season is in fact the Red Tails. Sorry, Commanders. So yeah, I can definitely see them being marked as a favorite. I reserve the right to change my mind, but boy, it's sure hard to argue with them now, isn't it, buddy?
It is, but I will say this much. I'm not ready to go there just yet because
pansy.
Pansy. No, I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm not going to put something on. I'm not confident. Number one, the defense is terrible. Now, granted, this weekend, a little better concerns, Elna.
Well, here's the thing. And by the way, this isn't me correcting you about their defense.
Right.
I'm not saying that, okay? Though, well, I'll be curious to see what happens when they play more explosive offenses. That's what I'll lead with. Right. We'll see how right you are.
Well, they technically did play one against Cincinnati last week. I mean, technically. I mean, that is as close as you get in the league.
Well, yeah, and you're not wrong. And how do they have to beat them? By Jalen Daniels balling out and then watching Shannon Sharp make an absolute ass of himself.
Oh, yeah. That was so bad. The Joe Burrow thing? Oh, my God, it was embarrassing.
You want to hear an intelligent analysis of that? Look at last week's Student of the Game podcast with me and Mikey Byrne. But
good episode with you too, by the way, last week. That was a good episode. I love that one.
Yeah, no, I felt good about that when we logged off too. I appreciate that. But whether or not they have a good defense is irrelevant, to what I'm saying. If they're winning the games, they only have to be better at stopping other teams than the rest of their division to win the division, which is the premise of the question. So while you're saying, oh, they have a bad defense, do the Cowboys have a good one? Michael Parsons on the damn shelf. Are you impressed by what the Eagles are doing without Hassan Reddick? I'm not.
No.
And the Giants,
actually,
joking aside, the Giants may actually be the best defense on paper, but when you're constantly handed shit field position, you're going to give up some points. Facts of the case.
Yep.
Right?
I still have faith in Philadelphia's roster overall. If we're looking through a whole 17-game sample to still get a division, the problem is that the concerns I have for the Eagles now are more so internal now. Well, first of all, right now it's injuries. They lost Tampa Bay without A.J. Brown didn't play again. Devontae Smith didn't play again this week. And I think also one of the linemen didn't play this weekend also too as well, I'm not mistaken. Key lineman for the Eagles. So that's a massive hit there for the team. But
they were dealing with that.
Weren't correct. Right. But there's also some internal things. Like I don't know if you saw the Jalen Hurts post game presser on Sunday after the loss to Tampa Bay. A little bit of weird. It seems a lot of friction now between him and Sirianni now. And we'll get to coaches on the hot seat in a couple seconds from now. But internally, the Eagles' issues are internal, and if they don't fix those things, then I could probably see a scenario maybe in 2-3 weeks. I could say, yeah, the Commanders are probably the favorites. Cowboys, same issue. Internal issues too. Defense is bad. No running game. But again, they can correct that by going and making a trade before the deadline. We'll see how that goes.
You really think a trade will save either of those franchises?
Well, at least they need a running back. They need a running back.
But okay, let's say they get a running back. It just doesn't matter in my opinion.
It's just weird though because like Dak is not the issue. I can't blame Dak.
Here's the correct take. You're banging around the wrong bush here, Chief.
Right.
What if I told you today it looks like the team with and I expect a fucking TikTok on this, Ernest Christian.
You'll get TikTok, you'll get YouTube, you get all that jazz, brother. Bumpy.
I'm the guest. Stop interrupting me, okay? But I better get a TikTok on this and not some clickbaity bullshit about somebody not shaking hands or whatever. Imagine this. Here's the thing you're missing that we haven't talked about yet and needs to be talked about more. If I said to you the team with the best offensive protection in the division right now is your Washington Commanders. Damn it, you're going to make a TikTok out of it, and I still got the name wrong. If I told you that was the team with the best offensive protection, you would ask me why I keep calling it Twitter, because I'm obviously on X to think that's true, and yet here we are.
And they are. But if you ask me right now to go 10 toes down on the Commanders being favorites, I'm not there yet. I got to see more.
No one said 10 toes.
Okay. No, I'm just telling you what I'm at.
Before you started this TikTok recording that presumably will happen, I had said the correct answer to this question of whether or not the Red Tails, Commanders should be at the top. You should fence it this question. That's actually the correct answer. But if you're asking me today if I think they will, the answer is yes. I will go 10 toes down that today they look right, which is kind of contradictory because if I'm saying today and reserving the right to change my answer, I'm not really 10 toes down, am I? So, but hey, for me, you brought it up and this was a must-win debate. So
Samuel says aside though, this team reminds me of the RG3, rookie year team. And that team won the division too as well.
So don't do that because it's not.
I'm not
Jaden Daniels has looked a lot better throwing the football.
I agree 100%. 100%. And I told you everybody, I knew this skill was going to be special because during camp, I don't know if you watched the New York Giants Hard Knocks over the spring. Last summer.
Didn't. Right.
So there's a part in that Hard Knocks where they bring in all the because that one covered the draft process all the way through. the Giants brought in all the quarterbacks that was supposed to go top 10, whatever you call it. Jane Daniels and Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
there was a small part on the show where they talked to Jane Daniels, and I just got a good feeling about him watching him talk to Brian Daboll and Joe Shane and whatnot. Because the Giants, exactly, the Giants were considering trading him in the draft. And they were talking to the Patriots and a couple of teams to get into that spot. More long story short, watching Jane Daniels and his body language, just the way he responds to things, and just his whole aura, I got a good feeling about him.
Yeah, no, and I'll admit, I was somebody who was relatively skeptical of Jaden Daniels. I've never said he was bad, but I wanted to see more. And to his credit, he's landed, or rather, I should say, to the Commanders' credit, he's landed in a much better position there than I ever thought he would be. And so, had I known that this was what they were going to do this season, I might have been a little bit higher on him. I mean, listen, I was already higher on him than a lot of other quarterbacks because the Commanders finally have taken the time to grow out of their ACC quarterback phase. So there's that.
Now they got to fix their field, and they're all good now. Fix that field, and then it's all gravy going forward.
One problem at a time, Ernest Christian.
Exactly, I get it. I totally get it. We'll get
quarterback is what gets you the financing to rebuild that ish.
What about the